My girlfriend cheated and got pregnant, then I discovered my own brother had been covering for her. I, 34M, had been with Maya, 32F, for 7 years. We weren't married, but we owned a house together, built a life together, or at least, I thought we had, until one night shattered everything. I work in IT security for a healthcare company, and for weeks, my team had been pulling long hours to finish a critical system upgrade. Finally, I wrapped up my work 2 days ahead of schedule. Relieved, I decided to surprise Maya by picking her up from her dental practice. I figured we could check out that new restaurant everyone had been raving about. Her office was about a 30-minute drive in evening traffic. When I arrived, the parking lot was nearly deserted, the building dark except for a few dimly lit rooms. Maya's silver Accord was there, but so was a sleek black BMW I didn't recognize. I pulled out my phone to call her. That's when I heard her ringtone blaring from inside her car. Confused, I walked over, peering through the window, expecting to see her gathering her things. Instead, I saw something that made my stomach drop. Maya was in the passenger seat of the BMW, her blouse unbuttoned, her lipstick smeared, and she wasn't alone. Dar Rodriguez, the orthodontist from her practice, had his hand up her shirt, kissing her like a teenager sneaking around after curfew. I stood frozen, my heart pounding in my ears. 10 long seconds passed before Maya's eyes met mine. Her face drained of color. She shoved Rodriguez away, scrambling to fix her clothes. He turned toward me, his expression shifting from confusion to horror. I recognized him immediately. Just a few months ago, at their office Christmas party, I had chatted with him and his very pregnant wife about their plans for their nursery. He had proudly shown me pictures of the crib he built, of the mural his sister had painted on the wall. Now, here he was, hooking up with my girlfriend in a dark parking lot. I didn't stick around for excuses. I turned on my heel, got into my car, and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I saw Maya chasing after me, waving her arms frantically. I didn't stop. A night of running, a morning of realization. I drove aimlessly for hours, the city lights blurring past me. When I finally stopped, I was nearly 150 miles from home, parked outside a 24-hour diner. I ordered coffee and sat there until sunrise, ignoring the dozens of missed calls and texts from Maya. Eventually, I turned my phone off and stuffed it into the glove compartment. When I finally went home, Maya was waiting, sitting on our front steps, still wearing yesterday's clothes, mascara smudged down her cheeks. The moment I pulled into the driveway, she ran to me, trying to wrap her arms around me. I stepped back. "It was a mistake," she pleaded. "It didn't mean anything." I walked past her, grabbed a duffel bag, and started throwing clothes into it. She followed me through the house, begging me to listen. "Please, just talk to me," she sobbed. It was stupid, I was stupid. She blocked the front door, demanding to know where I was going, when I'd be back. I didn't answer. I left through the side door instead. For a week, I crashed at my buddy Jake's place. I told him I needed space from Maya but didn't say why. He didn't push, just tossed me a spare key and let me be. Meanwhile, Maya bombarded me with messages. She showed up at my office. Even my boss pulled me aside to ask if I was okay. Then my brother called. The betrayal I didn't see coming. Tim, 37M, and I had always been close. He's a physical therapist, the responsible older sibling, the guy who never lets emotions cloud his judgment. When he called, I expected him to ask if I was okay. Instead, he told me Maya had reached out to him, confessed everything, and asked him to convince me to come home. I didn't know which part pissed me off more, the fact that she thought my own brother could manipulate me or the fact that he was actually trying. "You should at least hear her out," Tim said. "People make mistakes. 7 years is a long time to throw away over one bad decision." I nearly laughed. This was the same guy who, years ago, had cut off his college girlfriend the second he found out she cheated, blocked her number, transferred classes to avoid her, never spoke her name again. Now he was telling me to give Maya another chance. Something felt off. The next day, I called a lawyer to discuss selling the house. We weren't married, but we needed to figure out how to divide everything. The lawyer suggested mediation. I said I'd think about it. That evening, Tim came over again, this time with takeout from my favorite Thai place. He kept steering the conversation back to Maya, talking about how devastated she was, how much she regretted it. He even brought up the time I forgave him for wrecking my car in college. "Wasn't that just a mistake too?" he asked. That's when it hit me. Tim wasn't just trying to get me to forgive Maya. He knew about the affair, and for some reason, he had been covering for her. I put down my fork, my appetite gone. How long have you known? I asked. Tim's face paled, his fingers drummed against the table. He didn't answer right away. That silence was all I needed. The truth hurts more than the betrayal. Tim finally sighed, rubbing his temples. A couple of months, he admitted. Maya told me she ended it, and I thought. You thought what? I cut in. That I didn't need to know? That it was a mistake, he repeated, that you two could work through it. I clenched my jaw, breathing through the surge of anger. My own brother, someone I trusted completely, had known the truth and kept it from me. Worse, he had been actively trying to manipulate me into taking her back. Then his words from before clicked in my head. 7 years is a long time to throw away over one bad decision. One bad decision. My blood ran cold. She's pregnant, isn't she? I asked. Tim looked away. I let out a hollow laugh. Everything suddenly made sense. Maya wasn't just trying to win me back, she was trying to secure her future. And Tim, he had been caught in the middle, either out of guilt or because she had somehow convinced him that lying to me was the right thing to do. I pushed my chair back and stood up. Whatever's going on between you and Maya, keep me out of it, I said, and don't call me again. Tim tried to speak, but I was already heading for the door. I didn't need to hear any more. Some betrayals you can move past, others make you realize you were never as close as you thought. This was one of the latter. His behavior kept nagging at me. A few days later, Tim stopped by with groceries and stuck around to watch the game. He was acting normal, too normal. The same brother who had betrayed me, who had lied to my face for weeks, was now lounging on my couch, cracking open a beer like nothing had happened. Something about it didn't sit right. When he stepped out to grab takeout, he left his laptop on the coffee table. My own laptop had been acting up, and I needed to send an urgent work email. I asked if I could borrow his. Sure, whatever you need, he said, tossing me his password before heading out the door. I opened his browser, but before I could log into my email, a notification popped up, a text from Maya. I hesitated. I shouldn't have looked. But I did. And what I found made my blood boil. Tim and Maya had been texting for weeks, not just since I caught her in the parking lot, before that, long before that. The lies ran deeper than I thought. 6 weeks ago, one of Tim's friends had spotted Maya and Dr. Rodriguez at a hotel bar on the other side of town. The friend took a picture and sent it to Tim. In the photo, Maya was practically in Rodriguez's lap, his arm around her waist, her hand on his thigh. They weren't just sharing drinks. Tim never told me. Instead, he confronted Maya privately. And she admitted it. She told him she had been sleeping with Rodriguez but swore it was just a physical thing, nothing emotional. She promised him it was over and begged him not to tell me. And Tim, my own brother, agreed. For 6 weeks, he sat on that information. He watched me plan a surprise weekend trip for Maya. He helped me pick out an expensive necklace for her birthday. He sat across from us at family dinners, smiling, laughing, knowing. Then I found the worst part. After I caught Maya and moved out, she and Tim kept texting. She played on his guilt, manipulating him into convincing me to take her back, and he fell for it. There were dozens of messages where Tim reassured her, saying he was working on me and wearing me down. He coached her, told her what to say, when to act heartbroken, when to back off, when to push. Then I saw another message, a single line that made my hands go numb. Maya, I might be pregnant. She wasn't sure if the baby was mine or Rodriguez's. She was using it to pressure Tim. He needs to come home now more than ever, she wrote. A baby changes everything. He won't walk away from his own child. I slammed the laptop shut, my breath ragged. I needed to get out of there. I grabbed my keys and drove aimlessly, trying to process the sheer weight of it all. My girlfriend of 7 years had cheated. My brother had known and kept it from me. And now, there was a baby, one that might not even be mine. When I finally returned, Tim was in the kitchen, unpacking the takeout. I set his laptop on the table. Is there something you want to tell me? His face went pale, his mouth opened, then closed. He started stammering, excuses, justifications. I thought she'd end it, he muttered. I didn't want to hurt you. I was just trying to protect you. I felt something snap. Protect me? I repeated. You watched me plan our anniversary. You let me make a fool of myself, while you knew. Tim rubbed his face. I didn't know how to tell you. You had 6 weeks to figure it out, I roared. You sat next to me at Mom's birthday dinner while I toasted to her. You knew the whole damn time. We were still arguing when the doorbell rang. Tim flinched. He knew who it was. Maya. The final blow. She stepped inside without waiting for an invitation, her eyes red and puffy. In her hand was a small bag from the pharmacy. She reached inside and pulled out a pregnancy test. She placed it on the table between us. Positive, she whispered, it's ours. I laughed in her face. And you know that how? I asked. Maya flinched like I had slapped her. She admitted she and Rodriguez hadn't always used protection but insisted the timing made it most likely mine. She swore she had cut him off completely. She even shoved her phone at me, showing texts where she ended things. I pushed her hand away. I don't care, I said coldly, even if this baby is mine. We're done. I'll take a paternity test when the time comes. I'll handle my responsibilities. But we don't exist anymore. Maya started crying. Tim stepped forward. Come on, man, I know you're angry, but... I turned to him, my fury sharp enough to cut. You don't get to speak. Then I pulled out my phone and scrolled to the messages I had read just hours before, the ones between them. I showed Maya the texts. I watched as her face twisted in shock, in horror, in guilt. I turned back to Tim. And you, I said, my voice like steel, are just as bad as she is. I told them both to get out. They left, but the damage was already done. The aftermath. Tim ran straight to our parents. He spun himself as the peacemaker, the brother who had just wanted to help. So when my parents got back from their cruise, my mom cornered me in the kitchen. You should give Maya another chance, she said gently, for the baby's sake. I nearly choked on my coffee. You're taking her side? Not taking sides, she insisted. I just think, people make mistakes, and a baby changes everything. I set my mug down. Did Tim tell you that he knew about the affair for weeks and said nothing? She hesitated. That was all the confirmation I needed. Tim had left out the most important part. I was done playing nice. I called a family meeting. Everyone came, my parents, Tim, Maya, even her parents. They probably thought I was about to announce a reconciliation. My mom even brought champagne. Instead, I laid everything out. I showed them the texts, the picture of Maya at the hotel bar, the timeline, the fact that Tim had been working with her behind my back. Maya's father, who had always treated me like a son, looked at her with quiet disappointment. My dad clenched his jaw, his anger simmering beneath the surface. Even my mom, who had been so convinced I should forgive her, had nothing to say. Maya's mother turned to Tim and spoke the final words that buried him. If you really cared about doing what was right, she said, voice low and sharp, you would have told your brother the truth from the start. Silence. That was the last time I saw Maya. Tim tried to repair our relationship, but I kept my distance. I sold the house, moved into a new apartment. Then, a few weeks later, the paternity test results came back. I am not the father of Maya's baby, Rodriguez is. The paternity test came back clear, Rodriguez was the father. When Maya found out, she tried to convince me we could still make things work, that she still loved me despite everything, but I declined. The house sold quickly, and we divided the proceeds as agreed upon in the original contract. I paid off my car and set the rest aside for savings. I moved into a new apartment closer to work. It's smaller than the house, but it feels more like home than the house ever did. In those final months, I cleared out my old life, buying new furniture, donating most of my clothes, and starting fresh. Rodriguez's wife divorced him and took him to the cleaners. She had suspected something was going on but lacked proof. My information gave her the leverage she needed in the divorce proceedings. She reached out to thank me again for telling her the truth. She's doing well, all things considered, and their baby is healthy. Maya and Rodriguez are no longer together. She tried to make it work with him after I made it clear we were done, but it seems he wasn't interested in a relationship. He is, however, legally obligated to pay child support. Maya's parents are helping her raise the baby, who was born just last month. Maya still texts me occasionally. At first, it was long paragraphs about how much she missed me, how she'd made the biggest mistake of her life, how she thought about me every day. I never responded. Now, she mostly sends updates about her life, updates I never asked for. I've considered blocking her number, but at this point, her messages don't affect me anymore. As for Tim, our relationship remains strained. He's apologized multiple times, but trust, once broken, can't easily be rebuilt. Tim stopped texting me about Maya after our confrontation. When we run into each other at family events, he keeps the conversation to sports and work. He no longer brings up second chances or asks if I've heard from Maya. My mom, on the other hand, sends care packages to my new place every couple of weeks and calls regularly just to check in. Last week, she helped me pick out furniture for my apartment without once suggesting I should have kept the old stuff from the house. My dad has been solid throughout this whole mess. He calls once a week just to talk, no advice, no pressure, just checking in. He started inviting me on his fishing trips, something we hadn't done together since I was in college. Last month, we spent a weekend at the lake, where he taught me to fish as a kid. We talked about everything and nothing. He never once mentioned Maya or Tim unless I brought them up first. Looking back, I still don't regret my decision to end things with Maya. The pain and anger have faded over time, replaced by a strange sense of gratitude. I'm grateful I found out the truth before we got married or had kids together. So that's where things stand. Life goes on, work is good, my new apartment is finally starting to feel like home. Update 2. It's been a year since everything happened, and I thought you all might appreciate another update. Maya's baby is now 6 months old. Rodriguez is paying child support, but his involvement in the child's life is minimal. According to mutual friends, he sees the baby once a month for a few hours. Maya occasionally sends me pictures of the baby, which I find strange, given our history. I changed my number last month, so hopefully, that's the end of that. The biggest news is about Tim. 3 months ago, he came over to my apartment unannounced. He was clearly nervous, fidgeting and avoiding eye contact. After some awkward small talk, he confessed something I never saw coming. He had been sleeping with Maya, not recently, but years ago, before we moved in together. According to Tim, it was just a one-night stand after a party while I was away on a business trip. They both agreed it was a mistake and decided never to tell me. Tim claimed this was the real reason he didn't tell me about Maya and Rodriguez. He felt like a hypocrite calling out Maya for cheating when he had done something similar years before. I didn't yell or throw things like I might have months ago. I just sat there, letting this new betrayal wash over me. When Tim finished his confession, I asked him to leave. He tried to argue, saying we needed to talk this through, but I opened the door and waited until he walked out. I haven't spoken to him since, despite numerous attempts on his part to contact me. Our parents are aware something happened between us but don't know the details. Tim apparently hasn't had the courage to tell them what he did. At Thanksgiving, my mom seated us at opposite ends of the table. Tim tried to catch my eye throughout dinner, but I focused on my cousins and their kids instead. After dessert, he cornered me in the hallway, asking if we could talk. I told him there was nothing to say. He argued that it was just one mistake from years ago, that he'd been carrying the guilt all this time, that he deserved forgiveness. I walked away. My dad called the next day. He didn't press for details. He just said that whatever happened between brothers should stay between brothers. He invited me fishing again, just the two of us out on the lake with no one else around. I told him everything about Tim and Maya from years ago. My dad listened without interrupting. When I finished, he cast his line into the water and was quiet for a long time. Family is complicated, he finally said. You don't have to forgive him today or tomorrow, maybe not ever, but don't let his mistakes poison your life going forward. I've been thinking about that a lot lately.